Alright, okay. So we are going to discuss chapter 4 on reproductive system. So in this session, we are going to discuss for part A on multiple choice question. So can the first person please read the question, give us the answer, and include a bit of explanation why you choose that answer. Okay, so Afika, please. Afika Nazira.
For first question, which of the following is a disadvantage of asexual reproduction? My answer is A, less genetic diversity, plus there is no gamete fusion in asexual reproduction.
Okay. There is no gamete fusion in asexual reproduction. Basically, that your explanation does not explain, okay, on the disadvantage of asexual reproduction. Your explanation given, your explanation, it explains more on the definition of asexual reproduction. Okay, the disadvantage of asexual reproduction when we looked at in terms of less genetic diversity, it means that um, the genetic composition of offspring, okay, will be the same as the parents. Okay, so there's no genetic diversity. So all the genetic composition is the same between offspring and the parents or generation sebelumnya. And this will pose, why is it disadvantage? Because, for example, if that population of organism is infected by certain disease, so all the members of that population will not be able to survive because there will be no variation in terms of its genetic diversity. Tak ada gene yang kuat, tak ada gene yang kuat untuk melawan serangan penyakit tu. Contohnya, okay. So that is the disadvantage. There is no variation, okay. So when the population is infected by certain disease or the environment changes, okay, so this will cause the individual in that population will not be able to survive. That is an example of less genetic diversity, okay. So faham Afika?
Faham, madam. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, number 2, Razin.
Woman's immature egg cell does not undergo meiosis II until C. She reach puberty. Because at the puberty, FSH will be released and stimulate a follicle until the follicle matures. When the follicle matures, baru dia sambung untuk menses 2.
Okay. Basically, okay. When you see the statement here, a woman's immature eggs does not undergo meiosis II. Okay. So bila kita tengok, if you refer to your lecture notes here, okay, on the process of oogenesis. Okay, so when we looked at the process of oogenesis, kita buat revision sekali okay. So chapter ni dah lama dah, kita dah lama dah belajar. Okay, so soalan tu dia cakap immature egg does not undergo meiosis II until. Okay, awak tengok ni bila berlakunya proses meiosis II? Bila start of puberty. Okay, so maksudnya sebelum tu apa jadi? Okay, so bila seseorang perempuan tu, okay, bila bayi perempuan ada dikandungkan dalam perut mak dia, dalam rahim mak dia, okay. So the development of the follicle starts, okay, in the embryo of the baby, okay, in the embryo of the baby. So the ovary in the embryo of the baby will undergo this process. Okay, first through mitosis, okay, by the primordial germ cell, and then undergo mitosis to form oogonium, and then mitosis again. So in the follicle of in the follicle in the ovary of the baby will contain only primary oocyte. So bila baby tu dah dilahirkan sampai sebelum dia reach puberty, in the ovary it contains follicles, okay, all the follicles, okay, in the ovary of that person, okay, the female, it only contains, okay, follicle that has primary oocyte, okay, primary oocyte, okay. So primary oocyte ni dia akan stop pada prophase 1 of meiosis 1, okay, prophase 1 of meiosis 1. So tapi bila seseorang perempuan tu reaches puberty, setiap bulan dia akan mengalami ovulation, okay, ovulation. So that involves one follicle, okay, will grow and matures, okay, will grow and matures, and same goes to the primary oocyte in the follicle to complete meiosis 1 and starts meiosis 2, which stop at metaphase 2. Okay, so masa ovulation yang akan release adalah secondary oocyte pada stage metaphase 2, okay, which occurs at puberty. Okay, so awak kena tahu phases tu. So daripada baby sampai reach puberty, all the follicles in the primary oocyte which stop at prophase 1. Okay, tapi bila berlaku ovulation, primary oocyte akan mature jadi secondary oocyte yang stop at metaphase 2. Bila masa dia okay, metaphase 2 of meiosis 2. Tapi bila masa dia akan complete the process of meiosis 2 bila berlaku fertilization. Okay, fertilization will complete meiosis 2. So you have to know the stages of the formation of oocyte, okay, in the process of oogenesis. Okay, so that is the answer for question number 2. Okay, a woman's immature egg cell does not undergo meiosis 2 until she reaches puberty. Okay, so at puberty, it releases secondary oocyte, okay, which stop at metaphase 2. So boleh note lah kat situ kan. Okay, so kalau it is fertilized, dia akan complete meiosis 2, contohnya. Okay, undergo mitosis daripada embryo lagi. Okay, so end of menstrual cycle ni, ini tak ada apalah, tak ada kaitan. So this one you have to, so this one menstrual cycle, it explains to you on what happened in the uterus. Okay, kalau perempuan kita ada dua cycle. Ovarian cycle is what happened in the ovary, kan, proses oogenesis semua tu yang dipengaruhi oleh hormon FSH dengan LH. Alright, menstrual cycle, okay, yang berlaku dalam uterus, okay, dalam uterus dipengaruhi oleh hormon estrogen and progesterone yang dihasilkan oleh ovary. Okay, so please look back in your notes lah. Okay, so yang ini awak kena tengok balik kan. So kalau perempuan dia ada dua cycle. Ovarian cycle, what happened in the ovary. Menstrual cycle is what happened in the uterus. Okay, so this okay. So please do your revision to if you lupa macam mana proses ovarian cycle berlaku, menstrual cycle berlaku. Okay. So next is Ahmad Syahmil.
Which of the following is the result of cleavage in zygote development? My answer is A. The number of cells are higher because the zygote undergo rapid cell cycles.
Rapid cell cycle, okay, betul lah. So bila berlaku fertilization, when fertilization occurs, it forms the zygote that undergo rapid cell division, which is daripada 2 cell and then 4 cell and then 8 cells again, and then until it forms a morula. Okay, a morula which is a solid ball of cells lah sebelum dia menghasilkan ataupun bertukar jadi blastosis. Okay. Alright. So number 4, Dia.
Yes, number 4. Which of the following describes oviparity? I choose C. Embryos that continue developing outside their mother's body, because the definition of oviparity is complete their development outside the mother's body.
So the embryo will be in what? Will develop in? Dia terkeluar macam tu je ke? So the embryo will be protected in
Placenta?
placenta, is it? Ya ke? Placenta luar badan mak ke?
Tak.
Oh. The embryo will be protected in what? If outside the mother's body.
Eggshell.
Egg, kan? So eggs that are laid, okay, laid outside of the mother's body, kan? So that is oviparity. Contohnya apa? Ayam, itik, kan? Apa? Ular yang bertelur ke, for example, ataupun even frogs. Frogs is oviparous animal, okay, oviparous. Kalau ovovivi, eggs that is retained in the mother's body. So once the embryo is fully developed, so the embryo in the eggs inside of the mother's body will hatch. So anak yang hatch dalam badan mak dia tu akan keluar like a normal birth. That is ovoviviparity. So make sure you know how to spell these terms correctly. If you spell the term incorrectly, so your answer will be wrong. Okay? Okay, so next, lagi satu kita ada oviparity, ovovivi, and lagi satu apa? What is the other one?
Ni apa you? Viviparity.
Viviparity. So viviparity, embryo develop in the uterus of the mother. Okay, so you have to know the examples and the definition for each one. Okay. So thank you, Dia. Next is Farah Nabila, please. Number 5.
Number 5, which of the following is correct about placenta? A. It produces the hormone HCG because
Okay.
placentas secrete HCG to continue developing the embryos layer in the placenta. BCG is connected to the placenta.
Okay, sekejap ya. Sekejap ya. Okay, so the question, which of the following is correct about placenta? So you answered produces HCG. Okay, so HCG is human chronic gonadotropin hormone lah, kan? So basically ada dua structure yang akan produce and secrete HCG ni. Yang pertama yang akan secrete HCG ni adalah blastocyst. Okay, blastocyst. Yang kedua, lepas blastocyst form gastrula and then the embryo, kan? So that the production of HCG will be taken over by the placenta. Okay, so initially, why does the blastocyst needs to secrete HCG? Disebabkan oleh hormon ni, kan? Hormon ni diperlukan oleh corpus luteum to be maintained. Okay, corpus luteum has to be maintained, prevent the corpus luteum from being destroyed or degenerated. So this hormone will maintain corpus luteum. Kenapa nak kena maintain corpus luteum? Sebab corpus luteum ni dia akan menghasilkan hormon estrogen and progesterone. Okay, apa fungsi estrogen and progesterone semasa pregnancy? To maintain the thickening of endometrium lining so that the blastocyst can be implanted in the uterine lining, kan, to support the implantation, okay, of the embryo. Alright. Okay, so itu kenapa blastocyst menghasilkan HCG. Tapi lama-lama, corpus luteum ni pun akan degenerate. Akan degenerate. So bila dah degenerate, dia dah musnah. So estrogen and progesterone still kena dihasilkan. Still kena dihasilkan untuk maintain pregnancy throughout. To maintain the pregnancy. Sepanjang-sepanjang pregnancy tu. So yang akan seterusnya menghasilkan HCG adalah placenta. Placenta. So placenta produces HCG and at the same time it produces estrogen and progesterone. So early in the pregnancy, this hormone is used to detect pregnancy lah using pregnancy test kit tu kan. So the pregnancy test kit will detect this hormone HCG in the urine of a pregnant woman. So kalau you are pregnant and you are going to test using the pregnancy test kit tu, so it is advisable for you to test early in the morning. The first urination tu. Early in the morning, bangun je, you test whether you are not pregnant or not. Sebab pada masa tu, the concentration of HCG will be high. So that so senang nak didetectkan oleh pregnancy test kit tu. Faham Boleh?
Boleh.
Right. So next question. Hannah Sophia, please.
Choose the correct sequence of human embryonic development. The answer is D. It starts with fertilization, which is the function of sperm and egg. Sperm nucleus fused with egg nucleus produce diploid zygote. After that is cleavage in week 1, which means a series of rapid mitotic division without a growth phase. The zygote divides forming 2 cells, 4 cells, and finally 32 cells. Stage called Hormonal, and the cell division continue and mitosis is found. After that is gastrulation in week 2 and 3, which means the formation of key tissue layer, embryo called gastrulation. And finally is organogenesis in week 4, which means organ formation process.
Okay, so your answer would be D lah kan? D okay, so betul lah. So detailed explanation, thank you Hannah Sophia. So fertilization, rapid cell division fertilization is class. Fertilization and then cleavage and then gastrulation and then organogenesis. Okay, so please make sure that you know what happened in each of these stages. Sorry class, kejap. Okay, next one is Jasreen, number 7.
Question 7. The following are examples of asexual reproduction except D, hermaphroditism. Sebab hermaphroditism ni dia either both male or female at the same time.
So one individual is either male and female. So basically the definition of hermaphrodite is an organism that has both male and female reproductive system. The organism has both male and female reproductive system, so that organism, that individual is capable of producing both sperm and eggs. So because that individual is capable of producing both sperm and egg, so that individual is capable of self-fertilization. Self-fertilization. So this can be applied for both plants and animals. Plants and animals. So so this type of organism, dia boleh they can produce offspring even though they are alone. Even though they are alone, so they can still produce offspring. Tapi dia juga boleh menghasilkan offspring through the normal mating. The normal mating. So hermaphrodite ni kan, dia sebab the definition for sexual reproduction, dia bukan semestinya melibatkan dua individual. So dia boleh melibatkan juga hermaphrodite, one individual which capable of self fertilization because it can produce both sperm and eggs. Okay. Tapi kalau human tak. Okay, this does not apply for human. Okay. So so that is sexual. So hermaphrodite is sexual reproduction. Asalkan ada fertilization of sperm and eggs. That is sexual reproduction walaupun daripada satu individual. Tapi this organism is also capable of undergoing normal fertilization such as in the bees colony, kan, the queen will produce egg, kan, so the egg will either develop into a haploid male, so haploid male will develop from unfertilized egg, so the male will become the drone, the soldier for the colony, okay, soldier yang akan jaga colony tu. Tapi kalau if the egg is fertilized, so it will become the female worker. Okay, so ada masa yang dia decide untuk undergo itu parthenogenesis. That is parthenogenesis. Salah sorry. Itu is the definition of parthenogenesis. The development of individual from unfertilized egg. Okay, unfertilized egg. Macam bees tu tadilah yang the one that I've just explained. Hermaphrodite contohnya apa? Contohnya earthworm. Okay, earthworms. What is the advantage of hermaphroditism? So when the organism is alone, contohnya parasite in the intestine of animal. Okay, parasite in the intestine of animal, so they can reproduce. Walaupun dia seseorang, dia boleh reproduce. This is advantages for sessile organism. Okay, so that is alone. Macam tu dia boleh reproduce. Tapi bila dia jumpa another individual, dia boleh undergo the normal mating. Okay, so that's why kalau parasite ni dia boleh membiak, kan, membiak. Walaupun dia seseorang, dia boleh jadi banyak nanti. Macam itulah. Okay. Alright. Okay, so faham So jangan confuse antara parthenogenesis dengan hermaphroditism ni. Okay. Parthenogenesis, the development of individual, okay, from an unfertilized egg. So this will become haploid. Okay, haploid individual. Such as tadilah drone tadi for bees. Okay, that becomes the soldier for the colonies. Ataupun lizard, kan, lizard yang mana dalam population of that lizard is all female. Semua female. Okay, tapi still berlaku mating ritual, but the mating ritual between the female is just to stimulate, okay, the surge of hormone, estrogen and progesterone tu. Okay, so lastly, these two individual of female will ovulate, okay, will ovulate to produce egg and produces offspring. Macam tu. Okay, so yang fragmentation ni contohnya apa? Contohnya adalah flatworms. Kan, flatworms. Fragmentation. So each one you have to know the example. Okay, flatworms ni. Okay. So basically fragmentation is followed by, kau boleh note kat sini, regeneration. Okay. Awak jumpa satu flatworm, awak geli dia. Awak geli tengok dia. So awak pisau, awak potong dia. Awak tak matikan dia, awak produce lagi banyak. Faham tak? Okay. So you produce even more of the flatworm. So the piece that contains the head will develop the rest of the body. Macam dia punya mid piece and also the tail. So the tail will develop the missing part. Okay. So that is for fragmentation, kan. So itulah dia. Okay, lagi satu adalah budding. Okay, so budding contohnya hydra, kan. So that is budding. So the bud will remain either attached or detached. Okay. Alright. So ABC ni adalah asexual reproduction because it does not involve process fertilization. Okay, the fusion between sperm and eggs. Okay, so next, thank you, Jasrin. Adif.
Which of the meiosis stage in normal human cell takes the longest time? B. Prophase 1 in female.
Prophase 1 in female. Apa explanation dia?
Because masa tu dia berlaku recombination of DNA and crossover DNA cross.
Dia sama explanation yang macam yang kita tengok soalan nombor 2 ni tadi. Kan? So which of the meiosis stage in a normal human takes the longest time? Okay, prophase 1. Daripada embryo sampai dia jadi baby, sampai dia jadi kanak-kanak sebelum dia jadi remaja. Okay, the ovary of the female will contain follicles containing primary oocyte which stop at prophase 1. Bayangkan daripada lahir sampai sebelum dia reach puberty, lamalah kan. Kalau secara average ya, seseorang perempuan akan reach puberty maybe umur 12 tahun, 11 tahun. Macam tu kan. So that is the longest time. Kalau tak, lepas tu prophase 1, setiap kali ovulation, prophase 2 kan dah masuk meiosis tu. So setiap kali ovulation lah, setiap bulan. Macam tu. Faham ke? Boleh? Hadis? Faham?
Faham je.
Okay. Okay, so next. Amin. Muhammad Hanif. Ada 2 Amin kat sini.
Alright, number 9. Viviparous animals practice internal fertilization. The young are born before development reaches. The above statement refer to the marsupial because the marsupial young are born tiny, blind and hairless, but find their way to the mother's pouch, which at her ventral surface. Then they finish their development in pouch.
Example of animal?
For example, kangaroos.
Kangaroos kan. So animal with pouch. Okay, so the young that is born not fully developed yet, so they will finish developing in the pouch of the mother. Okay, so macam contohnya kangaroo. Okay, so kalau contoh Eutherian apa? What is Eutherians? Kenapa jawapan Eutherian tak boleh untuk statement yang dalam kotak ni? Amin.
Because Eutherian retain their young and development at their mother's uterus.
Kalau marsupial asalnya bukan dalam uterus ke? Dalam uterus juga kan sebab dia
uterus tak. Tapi dia born earlier before full development reaches.
Okay, so kenapa Eutherians ni tak boleh? Sebab keyword dia kat sini, before. Okay, so kalau Eutherians, the young are born fully developed. Okay, fully developed. So in order for the baby to be born, so the baby has to be fully developed. Okay, that is for Eutherian. Contohnya human lah, kan? So human. Okay, so number 10. So thank you, Amin. So next is Amin Shaifuddin, please. Mama Amin Shaifuddin, number 10.
Number 10, pollen grains are formed in the sea anther, which is part of the stamen.
Stamen is the male reproductive system for flower lah, kan? So that is where pollen will be produced, containing the male gamete. Okay. Kalau couple, Okay, so basically if you look at this diagram, so you should be able to know the structure of reproductive system for flowers, okay, for plant. So pistil is the female reproductive part, okay. Stamen is the male reproductive part. Okay, so stamen, anther, and filaments. Anther is where pollen will be produced, and then pistil, it has the stigma, style, and also ovary. Okay, so uh, the the anther produces pollen that will land on the stigma, okay, which is the female part. Okay, so this one is a flower. It's a flower that has both male and female reproductive system. So for this plant, it is capable of self fertilization. Okay, for this plant. Okay, so thank you, Amin. So next for number 11, Fakri Ikwan.
Number 11, figure 1 shows a stage in early embryonic development of a human. Choose a correct description that match the stage. The answer is C, inner cell mass becoming an embryonic disc.
Okay, so that is the correct answer. So dalam stage ni, this stage ni embryo tu kita panggil dia sebagai apa ya? Stage yang mana the embryo is ready to be implanted in the uterus of the mother, in the uterine lining. Apa nama structure ni? Early embryonic development. Early dia akan form apa? Ready for implantation. Mula pada B.
Blastocyte.
Blastocyst. Okay,
Blastocyst.
Okay, blastocyst. Okay, blastocyst. So blastocyst, yang tadilah yang structure yang akan implant in the uterine lining, and for human it will produce HCG, kan? Sorry. HCG, kan? So this HCG will maintain the corpus luteum and also is the hormone that will be used to detect whether or not you are pregnant. You are pregnant or not. Macam tu. Okay. Okay. So you have to know the layers, kan? So you have the trophoblast outside that will become chorion and amnion, kan? So chorion and amnion. So the chorion will become the placenta later. So if you look at the structure of blastocyst, kita buat division terus Kan yang ni kan. So dia adalah stage dia dalam keadaan blastocyst. Okay, so the outside layer is the trophoblast. Kan, outside is the trophoblast, become chorion and amnion. Chorion will develop into placenta. Okay, amnion will develop into amniotic sac. Okay, so this stage is called as blastocyst, which secretes the hormone HCG. Okay. So this is to signal the corpus luteum yang tadilah to produce estrogen and progesterone yang saya dah explain tadi tu. Alright. Okay. So next, so thank you Fakri. Next is Muhammad Mahmud.
Next, for question 12, figure 2 show a cross section of a flower. Identify the stigma. Stigma is, I got E. Kalau
Yang dia nak kan.
E stigma.
Kalau G apa?
Kalau G ni sekejap. G ni, enter yang itu.
Anther kan, which produces the pollen. Kalau F ni apa?
Kalau F, ovule.
Ovule kan. So kalau H?
H, filament.
Filament. Alright. So you have to know the structure of flower reproductive system. So ovule. Kita tengok balik ovule ni dia akan jadi apa nanti? Ovule will become the seed. Okay, ovary will become the fruit. The fertilization occurs. Ovule becomes seed, ovary becomes the fruit. Ni. Okay, so you have to know that. Okay, so thank you, Muhammad. So next is Afifah. Question 13. We cannot hear you. Boleh Afifah? Tak dengar awak bercakap. Mic saya rosak. Okey, 13. Awak type kat situ apa jawapan awak? Nombor 13. 13 is C, is it? Okay, kita tengok soalan 13 Figure 3 shows the level of hormones in a pregnant woman. So why does HCG concentration in the blood decrease after week 37? Okay, so basically this graph shows you the hormone produced during pregnancy. Okay, so if you observe during the pregnancy, throughout the pregnancy from week 0 until week 40. Okay, from week 0 until week 40, you will observe that at the early pregnancy about 2.5 months, there will be production of HCG. Asalnya kan the production of HCG will be produced by the blastocyst and then followed by the placenta takes over. Okay, placenta takes over. So as the pregnancy progresses, you also observe estrogen and progesterone secretion will also increase. This is to maintain the uterine lining. But as these two hormone increases its production, it poses a negative feedback. Okay, a negative feedback to the production of HCG, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so the answer will be D. High concentration of estrogen and progesterone suppresses the secretion of HCG. Okay, so itu dia punya jawapan dia sebenarnya. Okay. Sebab kalau awak jawab C, kenapa C salah? Placenta takes over the function of secreting the hormone. Itu bukan berlaku pada minggu ke-37. So, minggu 37 ni minggu yang awak tunggu-tunggu dah nak dekat bersalin dah. Okay, so you observe that the secretion of HCG will slowly decrease. So, kalau yang sini the explanation pada minggu ke-11 macam tu. Okay, So itu yang C, about week 11, something like that. Okay. Buat ni. Okay. Alright. In this slide. Okay. So thank you, Afifah. Next is Alia, number 14.
Number 14. Figure 4 shows a potato with new shoots grown from it. Which statement is correct? C. Only one parent is needed in this type of reproduction. It is because potato punya type of reproduction is asexual reproduction.
Asexual reproduction. Okay. Which is in this case dia adalah vegetative propagation kan? Vegetative propagation. asexual reproduction in plant in this slide. It involves vegetative propagation. Asexual reproduction in plant involving the production of new plants from vegetative structure. So dia ada rhizome, bulbs, corn, suckers, plantlets, stolon and also tubers. Kalau potato jenis tuber lah kan, sejenis tuber. Okay. Okay. So next question 15. Alice.
In population of honeybees, male drones develop from the unfertilized egg.
Kan, so unfertilized eggs. So this male drone dalam keadaan apa ya?
Haploid.
Haploid, okay. Kalau fertilized egg, it becomes what? In honeybee population, if eggs is fertilized, it becomes what? Apa? Alice? Apa dia?
Fertilized egg.
Saya dah explain tadi yang saya tersalah pasal parthenogenesis dengan hermaphrodite tadi. Fertilized egg will become
will grow young.
it become female workers. Okay, female workers. That is for honeybee. Okay, so honeybee adalah organism yang boleh practice both sexual and asexual reproduction. Okay, kalau sexual berlaku normal fertilization. Tapi kalau asexual dia adalah parthenogenesis. Okay, parthenogenesis yang melibatkan yang ni. Okay, unfertilized egg develop into a male drone tu. Okay. Okay, so kalau workers ni dah obviously dalam keadaan diploid. Okay, diploid. Alright. Boleh faham Alice?
Faham, madam. Thank you, madam.
Alright. Okay, 16. Janatul.
Okay, for 16, hermaphrodites are animals that they possess both male and female reproductive system. It is because hermaphrodites animals can reproduce offspring even if they are alone, such as flatworms.
Okay, betul lah. Okay, so tadilah yang explanation tadi kan, hermaphrodite dia still undergo sexual reproduction. Okay, walaupun dia seorang-seorang. Okay, sebab dia capable of self-fertilization. Right. So thank you Janatul. Next is Nabila Huda.
Number 17. What would happen if trophoblast of an implanted embryo fails to secrete human chorionic gonadotrophin? My answer is B. The embryo would be aborted.
Why? Kenapa boleh gugur?
Because the cell would not continue to divide.
The cell tu is referring to what cell? If you are
The embryo.
Okay, ni pun saya dah explain tadi sebenarnya. If you look at the question, what would happen if trophoblast of an implanted embryo fails to secrete human chorionic gonadotropin? Trophoblast adalah struktur yang lapisan luar pada blastosis. Okay, ya, blastosis, the early embryo. Okay, dah undergo fertilization, cleavage, morula and then blastosis. Lapisan luar dia adalah trophoblast yang jadi chorion, amnion and then later chorion jadi placenta. Okay, so tadi saya dah explain kalau blastosis dia pada awal pregnancy akan menghasilkan HCG yang fungsi HCG ni adalah untuk maintain the corpus luteum from from being destroyed or degenerated, sebab corpus luteum ni penting untuk menghasilkan estrogen and progesterone. Kenapa nak kena hasilkan estrogen and progesterone? Sebab these two hormone is used to maintain the endometrium lining, maintain the thickening of endometrium lining. Kenapa nak maintain the thickening of endometrium lining? So that the endometrium lining is ready to receive the implantation of the embryo, kan? So the thickening of endometrium lining dia melibatkan apa? Addition of more blood vessels, addition of more glands, kan? So that when the embryo is implanted in the uterine lining, pelekatan tu kukuh lah, kan, sebab ada connection, ada salur darah that will connect to the blastocyst to supply blood to the blastocyst, so that blastocyst can grow and develop into the next stage, gastrula, kan, and then the fetus. Okay, faham boleh tak? Itu dia punya sequence dia macam tu. Faham ke Huda? Nabila Huda? Faham So kalau tak ada HCG, boleh akan terjadinya aborted kan. So dia akan gugur sebab tak ada estrogen and progesterone daripada corpus luteum. Okay, so next 18 please, by Najwa.
Number 18, vegetative propagation of bananas use suckers.
Suckers. Dia adalah sejenis asexual reproduction in plant. Okay. So number 19, Natasha.
19. State the given stages of fertilization in the correct sequence. A. Acrosomal reaction, cortical reaction, A. Activation.
Okay. So acrosomal reaction, explain sikit. What happened? What is acrosomal reaction? Ni.
Acrosomal reaction tu yang sperm masuk dalam egg.
Dekat head of the sperm, kan, head of the sperm dia ada dua major component. One is the genetic composition, the nucleus of the sperm that is in that is haploid. Kat tip of the head tu ada sejenis vesicle, we call it as acrosome, which contain enzyme to digest the wall of the secondary oocyte for fertilization to occur. Kan, so please make sure you know the what happened during fertilization tu. Ni. Okay, acrosomal reaction. This slide here. So make sure you know, kan. So acrosomal reaction yang pertama, kan. So the head of the sperm will release enzyme to penetrate the granulosa cell. So this layer you have to know. So yang outside layer of the secondary oocyte, you have the granulosa cell. Bawah granulosa cell kita ada zona lucida. Kan, so zona lucida, and then bawah tu baru ada plasma membrane of secondary oocyte. Bawah plasma membrane akan ada sejenis vesicle, dia juga vesicle yang akan yang nama dia cortical granules. Okay, cortical granules. Okay, so you have to know what happened in each of these stages. Acrosomal reaction releases enzyme to penetrate to the granulosa, kan. And then cortical reaction, what happened? So the cortical granule releases enzyme to harden the zona lucida. Okay, and then you have egg activation, and then you have the fusion of sperm and egg nuclei. Okay, so you have to know the explanation for each of the stages. Okay, ini dia keluar dalam bentuk objektif. Kalau dia keluar dalam bentuk structure, maybe the question can ask you to explain on each of these stages. Okay, so kita spend masa sikit boleh tak untuk kita habiskan sikit lagi, can or not? Boleh. Sebentar je. Sikit je. Okay. So 20. What is parthenogenesis? Ini pun dah explain. Siapa next? Tadi siapa, Najwa ke? Sekarang ni siapa, Natasha ya?
Saya tak di madam.
Ha?
Saya dah tadi.
Najwa dah?
Najwa dah, Natasha dah.
Shazliana, okay. Next is Shazliana.
Question 20. What is parthenogenesis? The answer is B, a form of asexual reproduction. Parthenogenesis is a natural form of asexual reproduction in which growth and development of embryos occur without fertilization by sperm. So, A, C, and D are not related to parthenogenesis. Hence, the answer is B.
A ke B? Awak punya tadi putus-putus sikit lah. Tak apa, okay. So, okay, 20. What is parthenogenesis? Basically, this type of question is a definition question. Okay, it requires you to define. So, it is a form of asexual reproduction, okay, which involve the development of individual from unfertilized eggs. Okay, so it becomes haploid individual. So, 21.
For 21, the first statement are correct about placenta, except B. It's exchange blood between the fetus and its mother. Because B is for umbilical cord and then ACD is for function for placenta.
Okay. So jawapan dia B The following statement are correct about placenta kecuali except it exchange blood between the fetus and the mother. So dia takkan bertukar darah yang sebab darah antara mak dengan anak tu akan separate. Okay, akan separate. It is separated. But it involve only the exchange of materials such as oxygen, carbon dioxide, waste. Okay, so it only involves the exchange of materials, but does not involve exchange of blood. Blood is separated. Okay. Okay, so 22. Raihana.
22. In all plants, double fertilization involves B, 2 male gametes and 1 egg. One will fertilize with egg cell, become zygote and become seed, while other will fuse with 2 pollinators, jadi endosperm.
Okay. Okay, so that is the answer. C. So thank you, Raihana. Next is Raja.
Correct sequence in embryonic development stage is A, zygote, morula, blastocyst, embryo, and fetus.
Okay, so embryonic development Okay, so kalau tengok kat sini embryonic development stage. Okay, mesti melibatkan perkataan stage ni. Okay, so zygote, morula, blastocyst, embryo and fetus. Fetus baby tu lah. Lagi satu soalan dia boleh keluar dalam exam kalau dalam structure kan, embryonic development juga. Tapi tak ada perkataan stage. Dia adalah strategies. Okay, keyword dia adalah strategies of embryonic development. Yang itu adalah yang melibatkan explanation oviparity, viviparity, ovoviviparity. Embryonic development juga. Tapi cara macam mana embryo to develop dalam telur ke, telur outside body ke, inside body ke, dalam uterus ke. So itu strategies of embryonic development. This one is stage. Okay, so make sure you know the difference. Okay, so next is Adli.
For question 24, what triggers menstruation to occur? I choose C. Decrease in the level of estrogen and progesterone.
Decrease in the level of estrogen and progesterone sebab apa? Sebab corpus luteum dah degenerate kan masa menstruation. Tak ada berlaku fertilization. Okay, so inilah dia. Okay, so thank you Adli. Next, the last one, Zur Atika.
Figure 5 shows cross-section of a flower. Which part would develop into fruits and seed after fertilization? Jawapan dia D.
D.
L and M.
L adalah ovary kan, M adalah ovule. Okay. Tadi dah go through juga. Okay. So dah habis through the list ni. So saya akan buat the rest. Okay, 26, figure 6 shows human male reproductive system. Identify which part is responsible for the secretion of prostaglandin. Okay, so this one is, the answer is Q. Okay, prostaglandin. Kalau you refer kepada you punya lecture note, ini. Okay, so male akan ada three accessory glands: seminal vesicle, prostate gland, bulbolateral gland. So seminal vesicle secretes the prostaglandin to stimulate contraction, okay, of the uterus during copulation lah. Okay, so yang ketiga vesicle ni, glands ni you have to know kat mana location dia, apa secretion yang akan dihasilkan, apa fungsi secretion. So please make sure you know. Okay, so 27, the answer will be C. 27. Sekejap, dalam soalan awak ni. Soalan ni terkeluar. What is the function of human prolactin in human female? Dia adalah milk production. Prolactin produces milk. Oxytocin secrete the milk. Okay, so awak kena tahu prolactin fungsi apa, oxytocin apa dia. Okay, so 28, the answer will be C. Okay, so tengok balik betul tak? Woman's menstrual period started on the 3rd day of February, which is the ovulation. So dia bagi 3 hari bulan, so tambahlah 14 hari kan. The day 14. Okay, day 14 will occur ovulation. Okay, hari yang ke-14. Hari yang ke-14. So, kira lah. Okay. So, 29. The answer for this one is A. Okay, chorion. Figure 8 shows a cross-section of human blastocysts. What happened to Y after implantation? Y adalah trophoblast tadi. Okay, so trophoblast will develop into chorion, chorion into placenta. Okay, 30, which of these are correct regarding gastrulation? So gastrulation, for this one, the answer would be B. 1 dan 3. Endoderm will rise to glands, and ectoderm bahagian lapisan yang luar will give rise to the nervous system. So gastrulation, you have to know that it involves the formation of 3 germ layers: ectoderm, endoderm, mesoderm. So these 3 tissue layers, you have to know what it will become. Okay, so tengok balik. Okay, habis. Alright, so that's the end of our discussion.